Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action. Hey guys, what is up? This is Dan from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, and I am here to talk all things NXT Stand and Deliver. So, as you know, I do lay the SmackDown on a Saturday morning, and usually there is a segment in the show all about NXT that week. But this time, NXT was too big for just one night, so we are going to do a separate recording all about NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. So, without further ado, let's lay the SmackDown on NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Now, NXT Standover Take and Deliver, we saw 4 new champions crowned. And in what a great event. This was the perfect warm-up for WrestleMania. To be fair, you could even say this was a mini-mania. It had everything. It had grudge matches, huge title matches, and even a ladder match. So now, let's lay the SmackDown on the rest of this show. Alice Cooper's guitarist Nina Strauss kicked off with a guitar version of America the Beautiful, and Poppy also performed her unreleased song, Say Cheese. So on night 1, we saw new tag team champions crowned as MSK, the Dusty Cup winners, beat the Grizzled Young Veterans and Legado Del Fantasma in a triple threat tag team title match. And surprisingly, in the second shortest match of the evening, Raquel Gonzalez defeated Io Shirai in an absolute banger of a match to capture the NXT Women's Championship. So, does this now mean then that Io Shirai is going to be called up to the main roster? Could we even see Io Shirai as early as WrestleMania? Only time is going to tell. Highlights of this match included Io Shirai diving off the huge skull on the entranceway. It was honestly just such a good match. And I think obviously it's the right result. I think Raquel Gonzalez has been so dominant in the NXT women's division since she's come into NXT and rightfully taken her place atop the NXT women's division as the champion there. We also saw Walter retain the NXT UK Championship, a title which he's actually held since myself and Scott were in attendance, really, at it was the NXT TakeOver New York right before WrestleMania 35. And obviously we're at WrestleMania 37 now, so it shows how long Walter's UK title reign has been. This was a very, very hard-hitting match that he had with Tommaso Ciampa. I think the only fault that I had with this was when he smacked on the announce table, just the way that it broke, and you could actually see the zigzag mark where the table had actually been cut beforehand. But that's me really having to go in and pick holes in what was otherwise a really, really, really good match. We also found out Bronson Reed would be the man advancing to night 2 to take on Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship. But yeah, I think overall, night 1 was, it's horrible to say, I think night 1 was probably the weaker of the two, but the two standout matches for me were definitely Walter versus Ciampa and Raquel Gonzalez versus Io Shirai. But yeah, I think it was always going to be the weaker of the two because night 2, I think they were definitely out to impress the people over at Peacock because so for fans in the UK, it doesn't really affect us too much, but over in the States, the NXT the WWE Network. There we go. I'll get my words out eventually. But yeah, the WWE Network has moved over to a new streaming platform of Peacock. So obviously night one was on USA Network, I think, as it always is. And then night two was on specifically on Peacock. So this match was a 5-match card. We saw 4 title matches and an unsanctioned match. So it did feel like they left some of like the bigger matches definitely for this card. Obviously, night one, they gave us 2 huge title matches with the UK title and the women's title, and obviously the tag titles as well. But yeah, for this one, we obviously now know the identity of the undisputed cruiserweight champion, which was quite frankly an incredible ladder match with Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar. Some of the bumps that they took looked, oh my days, they looked so painful. Very nasty bumps, especially the one at the end with so Escobar and Devlin both on the ladder, and then Escobar pushes Devlin off. He goes through a ladder that's set up in the corner. Looked mighty painful. At some point, there was some blood coming from seemingly the shoulder of Jordan Devlin. But yeah, Escobar eventually was the man to pull down both cruiserweight championships and become the undisputed cruiserweight champion. Now, this match was strange because both guys are generally playing bad guys, both playing heels, villains, however you want to describe them. And yeah, it was... you didn't really know who to cheer for. The crowd was a little bit mixed for this one. And yeah, Escobar at the end celebrated with Legado Del Fantasma and his son. He put his mask on his son and gave him one of the Cruiserweight Championships. So yeah, we know obviously Santos Escobar is going to be the Cruiserweight Champion going forward. Be interesting to see now if Jordan Devlin is going to move over to the US version of NXT full time, or if he's going to stay predominantly with the UK version of NXT. So we then obviously had 2 title retentions, the women's tag titles and the North American Championship. So obviously we knew the North American title was going to be defended with Johnny Gargano defending against Bronson Reed. Obviously Bronson Reed had won the previous night. But yeah, this was actually a really good match. I did like the finish. It took 2 one final beats for Gargano to beat him. So that was a really good match. I think, Bronson Reed is, a very underappreciated worker. I think, for a man of his size, he moves around the ring like, yeah, he's another one in that kind of Keith Lee mold, really, that, a man of his size should not be able to do what he can do. And yeah, he even went to hit a moonsault at one point in the match, and it was probably one of the better looking moonsaults that I've seen. Yeah, obviously the women's tag team championships, it wasn't all happy in the Gargano household. So obviously Johnny's wife, Candice LeRae, teaming with Indy Hartwell, they lost to the team of Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. Yeah, you don't really want to be having 3 lots of champions in less than a month since they've had the championships. Really, it'd be a bit, wouldn't look very good to keep chopping and changing the champions at this stage, really. So now let's get into the co-main events now. Let's go. So the co-main events, Karrion Kross is your new NXT champion. He defeated Finn Balor to win the NXT Championship. It's obviously a title that Kross never actually lost. Obviously, both guys played on their history of having to relinquish championships through injury. Obviously, famously, Finn Balor, the first ever Universal Champion. People may forget that at times, but obviously Balor only held the championship for a night as he got injured winning the championship and then had to relinquish that on Raw the next night. Karrion Kross, obviously getting injured himself and having to relinquish the NXT Championship. He has finally won that championship back. Yeah, it was a really good match. Both guys hitting each other with their best shots, and in the end, it was a running forearm to the back of the neck of Finn Balor, which won the match and made Karrion Kross a 2-time champion. So then we have the final match of the night, the unsanctioned match between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Now, let me get the negatives out of the way first. Why was this match so long? What is WWE's or NXT's insistence on 40-minute plus main events all the freaking time? Night one's main event, for example, banging women's title match, was just slightly under 13 minutes. And that match was incredible. They told a brilliant story within a 13-minute time frame. And this match, I think it hurt the match, to be fair. And that's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. I'm not saying for 1 second that I did not enjoy every bone-crunching second of this match. I just feel as though you could have told the exact same story in half the time. Obviously, we see the finale of this match with Kyle O'Reilly wrapping a metal chain around his boot and leg, jumping from the top rope onto Adam Cole on the steel chair for the 1, 2, 3. But yeah, just feel as though obviously for this match, it's obviously the story from the Undisputed Era. It's such a long story, a long storied history, you could say, for the Undisputed Era, and this being kind of the culmination of, you know, their breakup and these guys all going off in different directions. But yeah, I didn't see the need for it to be 40 minutes. And yeah, I think if this match had been, say, a 20-minute match, I would have been more into it. And, you know, this is not me just being totally like crapping all over this, because, you know, we've had the same criticisms of main roster WWE matches as well. The Randy Orton Edge match at last year's WrestleMania, again, a match that you could have done in half the time. But I think sometimes main events, you do want to see just two guys just battering each other. And yeah, I think for what it was, I think it, as I said, my opinion is it was too long. But for some other people, they may say, you know, it was exactly what it needed to be. It was just a 40 plus minute banger of a match. And yes, it was, but didn't need to be. I just think, you know, each of them went into this match just battering the living heck out of one another. And yeah, as I say, the finish, obviously, with Kyle O'Reilly wrapping a metal chain around his boot and jumping onto Adam Cole from the top rope, that looked sick. Yeah, they definitely left everything in that ring. And yeah, so that was really everything for me from NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Thankfully, I don't have to say the name of that pay-per-view anymore. So I'm not going to keep getting tongue-tied with saying NXT Stand Over Take and Deliver, as I have done on numerous occasions. But anyway, that was everything for this. Don't forget, you can still go back and check out Lay the SmackDown in its usual format, obviously minus the NXT portion of it. Go back on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. Also, check out later tonight on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. You will see me, Scott, Rob, and Lucas sitting down to talk about WrestleMania Night 1. And also on the subject of NXT, we sent Lucas virtually to talk to NXT UK star Mark Andrews, talking all about different entrance musics, WrestleMania, who his dream opponent is for TakeOver. Who knows, this time next year we could see Mark Andrews main event in NXT TakeOver UK. But yeah, go back, give that a watch. Don't forget, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Take care. We will see you soon. Enjoy WrestleMania, and don't stay up too late. Take care. See you later. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.